Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly review Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is the follow-up to Jedi Fallen Order, and you can find this for about 60, 70 bucks in most places, normally. I myself got it on Amazon, of all places, for about 20 bucks. I got it on a really deep discount. I got an origin key through Amazon, although it's risky doing it that way because it's non-refundable, whereas on Steam, if you've played it for less than 2 hours or owned it for less than a week, something like that, you can refund it. One thing I will note before we begin is that this game does have some great accessibility options. There's a slow mode that you can automatically activate whenever you go into combat, and this will slow down time based on the slider that you set. So if it 90%, it's closer to normal speed than it would be, say, 50 or 40%. And I love that. It gives these arthritic wrists more time to respond to things and to block accurately. But even still, you can speed that up, slow it down any way you like. 50% was way too slow for me. It was actually kind of game breaking. It was just, fights were just dragging on because everything was at half speed. But 90% was kind of my sweet spot. You'll kind of have to find your own as you play this, assuming you want to do that at all. But accessibility options are there. Just want to quickly note that I really like that feature. I wish more games actually did that. There's a story mode difficulty as well as Jedi Padawan, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, and Grandmaster. I like playing on Padawan. That's what I think I played the original game in. Just because I don't want to just hold in right mouse button to parry and then automatically parry correctly. I like a challenge, but not too steep. So Padawan was kind of a sweet spot for me. I have about 30 hours in this game right now, but I'm only showing you gameplay from the first hour or two, only because I don't want to spoil this. So I'll just kind of show you some features and move on. There is a workbench, and here you'll be able to customize your lightsaber. You can also customize BD1, which is the droid that follows you around. You can change your blade color right out of the gate, which is great. You can change the components, like you can swap out different aspects of your lightsaber to look different. Like the handle or the blade or whatever. There's different sections of it that you can swap out. You can even change the material, and each material has 5 different colors to go along with it. So this light metal has these 5 colors. The dark matter metals have these 5 colors. So you can kind of customize that as you like. There is, not to spoil things too much, there is this cantina on the main planet of Kobo that you will eventually access. And from here, there are multiple shops. You'll be finding items in the environment, and you can bring these items back to different vendors and then buy things. You can buy music tracks for your cantina. You can buy upgrades for Cal, perks for Cal. There's all sorts, outfits, hair. There's different hairstyles and different outfits and different things like that. So you can do a number of things. And again, I'm trying really hard not to spoil too much, but there is, in addition to a lightsaber, another kind of weapon that you can get that I wasn't expecting. There's even some extra things that you can do in your cantina. There's a garden on the roof, for example, and you'll be able to plant various plants. And I didn't go into that too much, but you'll find plants in the environment, seeds in the environment, bring them back and plant them. There's also a fish tank, like an aquarium, but you first have to find the right NPCs in the world before those things even unlock. There's even a holo table where you can play a little mini game, which is my favorite part of the whole thing. But I again, not going to spoil too much, but I love that this cantina is kind of like your home hub, and you can invite NPCs to it and sort of pimp it out. I love that. There is a skill tree or talent tree in this game. You'll be unlocking more as you play. I highly recommend the resilience tree right out of the gate. That just improves your health, and there's a force tree as well. Definitely focus on those first before you get into the different styles, because you can only have 2 lightsaber styles active at a time. There's single, there's the dual wield with the 2 lightsabers like Ahsoka Tano does in the Clone Wars cartoon. Then there's the Darth Maul, the long bow staff kind of thing. So there's that. And again, there's a 4th style that is reserved for that other weapon I was talking about that you'll find later on in the game. But yeah, double-bladed is my main one. I really like that one. And then the new weapon that you get, that's the other stance I use. So before you start spending an absurd amount of points into these different trees. Find a style or two or a stance or two that you really like, and then just focus on those. Get really good at one or two, just on one of them, and just focus on that. Then find a second one that you can just switch to as you need to. But certain styles are good against certain enemy types. Very rarely does the game force you into a particular style to fight a particular boss. So you'll be earning these, again, skill points over time. There is a respec option. However, your first respec is free, but after that, you actually lose a skill point out of your pool in order to respec. But you can get that back just by grinding out more skill points. But still, there is a cost to that. Like in the first game, this is very platform heavy. And like in the first game, you're going to be revisiting areas because you don't have the proper tools yet to do things. So you'll often have to pass areas up because you don't have the tools that you need to access that. But then later on, you get that tool that you need to now access this. So there's a lot of backtracking in this game like there was in the first one. I mean, yeah, you got your typical wall jumping, but once you unlock, there's some skills that you can unlock in this game that make the wall, like the beginning of the game wall jumping, that's child's play at that point. But yeah, it's just, there are some backtracking things. So if you're one of those 100% completists that don't like to beat a level on the first go, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to accept it because you're going to be revisiting these places. And it's worth it because most of these hidden areas, they either progress the story or they unlock mustaches or beards or material types for your lightsaber or BD1, that kind of thing. So just be warned that you're going to be doing a lot of backtracking. You're going to be doing a lot of frustrating, on occasion, platforming. That's the least favorite thing about this game. There are some sequences that are really cool, and it's just, but on occasion though, I found myself, I don't know where to go next. So I take a leap of faith, I die, I respawn, and, I try again. Luckily, the game's pretty forgiving in that sense, and that if you die in a particular location, it usually respawns you like as close to where you died as possible, which isn't bad. The combat in this game is very satisfying. Very rarely did I run into an instance where I had trouble controlling my character. Again, it comes down to the different styles that you have. If you use the dual wield or the single, you have to get used to the timing on that. And each stance has its own like force power abilities, like the Darth Maul double blade. You can throw it and it spins around you, or there's different force powers for the different styles and stances. So getting used to those is crazy. I will note that there are some really, really difficult legendary bosses. There's one I came across called the Spawn of Ogdo. And again, I'm trying really hard not to spoil this, but there are some legendary enemies in this game that are deceptively like, oh, well, it doesn't tell you it's an elite or a legendary until you actually start fighting it. And then you get your butt kicked. And then, it's just, they're tough. The Spawn of Ogdo was probably one of the hardest in the game. It took me about 10 different attempts. Once you get used to the patterns, just a quick tip, jumping is a lot more useful than I thought it would be in this game. Jumping typically gets you out of most attacks than is typical. But again, you do get force powers later that kind of negate damage altogether by holding in the force button, that kind of thing. But yeah, long story short, there are so many enemies in this game that, it's going to take you a couple of tries. They're deceptively easy. So, this game had a rough start. It didn't do very well, and as of right now, it's still not very optimized for the PC. I was able to run this, so as long as I'm not running OBS, it runs super smooth for me. And my PC stats are in the below description. When I am streaming this game, however, I cannot click on anything else on my desktop. It's just so slow. Like everything else slows down to a crawl if I click outside of my Jedi Survivor window. Just be warned of that. The game still does not work very well on the PC. It's not as optimized as it could be. So this is more of like a buyer beware kind of thing. Just I still recommend if you can get this on sale on Steam, just to see if it'll run on your PC. That way, if it doesn't, you can refund it. I took a huge risk getting it on Amazon for 20 bucks, but that was the cheapest I've ever seen it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take the chance and hope for the best. But yeah, the amount of exploration, the story is wonderful. I love it. There's so many hidden areas. There's also a new game plus mode where you can go back, you keep all your stuff, but you can go back and like find things that you didn't before, unlock new lightsaber colors, that kind of thing. So I do recommend this game, but I highly recommend like finding it on a platform to where you can refund it if it doesn't work on your PC. So there you go, folks. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's a huge thumbs up for me, about 35 hours of playtime. So yeah, I'd say grab it if you can, especially cheaply. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. Catch y'all next time. Take care.